Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Inside the Forest. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr.
Hello.
How are you, Hannah?
I am well, and how are you?
I am good. We just got finished watching episode 9 of The Bad Batch, which featured the return of Asajj Ventress, who was teased in the trailer that we got earlier this year. That's real quick side note. Would you have been actually more excited at all to see Ventress if we had not seen her in the trailer, if she had just like showed up?
I think I probably would have literally paused the episode, stared with my mouth agape, and then just did a bunch of pacing going, how.
That's true. That's true. But to be honest, I probably would have liked it better being surprised that way. But we'll get into it. Because that's going to be the main focus of what we're going to talk about is this episode of The Bad Batch. So, but first off, of course, thanks to our patrons, as always, for support and all that you do for Inside the Force. Thank you. We've got, content going up, and we've got an episode 3 commentary date that we're going to talk about here later as well. So you patrons can join us on there. We're going to try to do a time that's going to hopefully fit for everybody. We'll see. And, okay, so news-wise, a couple little news things I thought were pretty neat to talk about. One, the other day, ILM, Industrial Light Magic, took over the Empire State Building in New York. I'm sure every Star Wars fan has seen this. It's all over social media. I thought that was pretty incredible. Now, I had no idea about this. I just happened to be on Twitter and I saw it and I watched the video. It's called, it's funny because they called it as part of Lucasfilm's month-long Imperial March, a consumer products campaign, and starting the march to May the 4th. The iconic New York skyscraper hosted a dynamic light show, which saw classic Star Wars moments and new visual effects featured on the 1930 building, beautiful Art Deco facade. The 5-minute sequence was created by ILM, Lucasfilm's visual effects house. For all of ILM's legendary work, this was a project like no other. And of course, you had Hayden Christensen show up. Of course, Darth Vader. He wasn't in the Darth Vader suit, but someone else in the Darth Vader suit and stormtroopers. I don't know. What did you think about that? Did you see it, Hannah?
I did. I saw it, and I thought it was just really cool. It's
Yes.
like a little fun, cool moment in history type of thing, and I'm glad Hayden Christensen was there. I'm
Yes.
glad that fans are re-welcoming him back and with open arms because when the prequels first came out, he got a lot of crap for it.
Yeah.
But he really is an amazing actor and a great human being. So I'm glad that he was a part of that moment in history. What was your reaction?
Well, first, when I first saw it, I just saw the pictures of him walking around, and he was up on the observatory tower looking out. There's pictures of him and Vader, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." The Empire is at the Empire State Building, like whatever. In fact, just reading this right now, I didn't realize it was this whole Imperial March to May the 4th. I didn't really know that.
I didn't
But
either.
yeah, and so and then that's all I kind of saw. But then later on, I guess Star Wars posted the video of the light show, and then I watched that, and I was like, man, because I guess they had to wait till obviously it was dark to do it. So I watched that, and I was like, that is pretty neat. Anything to do with Star Wars and anything to interact with the world around us, I think it's just fantastic. And I'm just thinking, like, why did it take so long to do this? But it's great. No, it's really neat. So if you haven't seen it, you can get online, obviously, and search Imperial March on the Empire State Building and watch that. But that was pretty neat. It's really neat.
Indeed.
So there's that. They also, Lucasfilm has also, it's funny because there's actually a lot of news on Lucasfilm on StarWars.com. They also released the other day the artwork for Star Wars Celebration next year that takes place in Japan. So it's very Japan centric, I guess, because it's really neat. It's there's basically, the flag of Japan obviously is white with a big red circle, and that's what this kind of looks like. It's got a big red circle. It's got a mountain in the back, which I'm assuming is in Japan, and then it's got Vader very, with his cape kind of flowing. Do you see it?
Yep. I just
It's really
pulled it up
neat.
right now.
It's really neat.
Oh, that's very Japanese. Oh, that's so
Yes.
cool.
I know, and I'm telling you, man, I really want to go to this thing. But, man, I don't know if I can make it.
That's going to be awesome.
That will be there. And it says tickets go on sale Thursday, May 2nd at 4 p.m. Oh, so actually here in a couple months, or here in about a month, you can buy tickets to it. 4 p.m. Eastern, or 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, okay. So almost a year in advance, you can buy the tickets. Interesting. I don't remember them doing that before.
So are you buying your tickets?
See, I don't know. That's tough. A year? I don't know if I can plan a year.
That is like,
because I don't think they've done that. I don't think they did that whenever it's in like Orlando or Anaheim.
Yeah, why a year?
It's pretty early, but could be wrong. But that's tough because traveling across the country or across the world, I don't know. Hell, I don't even know what I'm doing in a month from now.
I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So that came out, artwork there. So I guess they brought that out because they just announced the ticket sales there too. So if you're planning on going, looks like May 2nd you need to buy tickets because most summits, I think the last few celebrations have started selling out. So they will probably go fast. Speaking of May the 4th, they also announced, Lucasfilm, you can buy tickets to the re-release of The Phantom Menace, which comes out that weekend, celebrating its 25th anniversary. But also on May the 4th, they are doing a Star Wars Skywalker Saga marathon.
Crazy!
All 9 films. Now, here's the catch. At some point, I don't know, and I don't even know when the tickets are on sale now, and I don't know if it's happening everywhere, or if it's happening. I didn't even look if it's happening like in our area, which I don't think it is, to be honest. I think it's only happening in like
really,
big cities. Yeah, so not available. I see, like there's no theaters around us that are holding this thing. I don't think so.
Aww.
So you might have to find a theater near you that's holding this thing. Oh, wait a minute. This is... yeah, okay. Yeah, May the 4th. On Saturday, May the 4th. Anyway.
Are you sure it's not happening in our area?
It says right here, it says not available in theaters near you. It doesn't list any. Do you see something?
Crap. No, I thought I did for a second because I saw it's Marcus Theaters in connection with Movie Tavern, which is in our area. So I got very excited for a second.
Oh. But here's the cool thing about it. If you can find a theater that is holding it, if you're in a bigger city probably. In addition, now, I don't know at what point during the 20 hours of you watching these movies, there is an exclusive look at the Acolyte that they're going to show in the theaters.
What?
Yes. In addition, an exclusive look at the Acolyte, the upcoming Disney Plus series set during the High Republic era, will be part of the Phantom Menace screenings. Finally, those attending will receive a finally, those attending will receive a special limited edition poster. Tickets are on sale now. So I don't know if this whole thing is about the marathon. So I don't know if it's about if you get the look during just the Phantom Menace. I think it's probably during the Phantom Menace,
Probably.
not during the Phantom Menace by itself.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, if you want to see the Acolyte kind of exclusive look, which would be about a month before the actual show hits Disney Plus, you can go try that out. But it will also be released in chronological order. You'll be watching 1 through 9.
Oh, like so what we're doing right now.
Exactly what we're doing right now. Yes, we are doing that right now. So there's that. That's pretty neat. I would try. I would really love to do that. But here's the generation, like my daughter, this is their reaction to. I was telling her about this. Her reaction was, we can just do that in the basement at home. Like, yeah, that's true. But
What?
In the theaters, yeah, whatever.
The theaters.
Yeah, I don't think they appreciate going to the movies anymore, like we used to growing up. Okay, so there's that, and the other thing is there's a book that we keep mentioning called Star Wars: The Living Force. That one is coming out here on April 9th. There's a bunch of excerpts out there. The embargo has been lifted. You can read reviews. It's getting pretty good reviews about being obviously very Jedi centric. It takes place right before Episode 1. So, and the council members that are basically centered around the council members that are part of the Jedi High Council at that time. So that is a way to go check that out. And that comes out, like I said, on April 9th, along with on June 11th, you got Temptation of the Force, The High Republic, The Glass Abyss, the Mace Windu novel, August 6th, Tears of the Nameless, September 3rd. And then next week to finish out, actually this week to finish out March, Obi-Wan Kenobi #6 on your comic shelves. Okay, so let's see. We've got Bad Batch episode 9 to talk about, Hannah.
Yes.
Okay. This is called The Harbinger, and both of us, for a while now, ever since that trailer came out, we've been talking about how the biggest question has always been this Asajj Ventress return. Now, well, let's talk this first before I read this. But
yes,
your initial reactions to the episode.
As soon as she came on screen, I was disappointed because I did not want her to be alive. She had a story. It ended great. We didn't need to see her. At the end of the episode, I was indifferent to the whole thing because here's the thing. I appreciate how they treated her. I appreciate the fact that we see her interacting with the light side of the Force successfully. We see her growth. She doesn't immediately attack. Instead, she defends or does non-lethal force until forced to do so. Pun not intended. I think it's cool that we got teased that she will hopefully, like at this point, if she's alive, then yeah, hopefully she comes back for something new because she has a lot of life left. I really hope she's with Moss. I really hope that they're part of that underground network that we hear him being connected with in Obi-Wan. I just I wanted an explanation as to why she was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't get it. And so I'm just sitting there like which is why, as you said earlier, I would be just gobsmacked. I don't know if I would have liked it or not if she was still, like, if it was a surprise. In fact, I'm leaning more on the side of I wouldn't have liked it
Mm,
because I would have been, it would have been such a whiplash experience for me
yeah.
that I just would be like, I would be beyond confused. That's all I'll say for now. But what are your initial reactions to this episode?
Well, I don't mind Asajj obviously being back. I mean, I think I've come to the point where, we talked about this, I think, before that, it feels like no one is ever really gone, right? The famous words of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
You know, unless they're like, well, even if they get cut in half like Darth Maul, they still come back, possibly. So it's like one of the things in like comic books and the superheroes, like no one ever really dies, they just temporarily go away for a while and then maybe come back, which is somewhat unfortunate. I mean, I think we have obviously got some eternal deaths like Han Solo. Like Han Solo's not going to ever come back, and Luke's never going to come back. And although Luke's a Force ghost now, so he technically can come back. But it seems like the Emperor comes back every time, right? But either way, this, Asajj was different just because she wasn't really ever a main character. She was just kind of supposed to be a supporting character, just some throwaway Sith assassin in the Clone Wars. I mean, she was introduced in the Clone Wars movie, and then just started making this big splash during the series. And they did. Filoni did, and George, who did the Clone Wars, they did phenomenal things with her because, again, she wasn't just stuck on the dark side. And all of a sudden, she became independent of herself and a threat, and then went off and kind of discovered her own way, helped Ahsoka in the last episodes that we saw her in at the end of season 5. Then, of course, there were unaired episodes that turned into a novel that really gave her a full range of depth and an unbelievable story of redemption and change and sacrifice. And it was unbelievable. Like I'd never, again, probably yours too, still, but my favorite novel of Star Wars. So having her back, sure, I love her. Great, let's do that. But it's hard. It really is hard to do this because you have half the fandom that doesn't know the Dark Disciple story. Mm-hmm. So if all they know is Clone Wars, boom, this makes sense to them. Oh, she's here. Where's she been the whole time? I don't know. They didn't say it yet, but maybe we'll find out later. But for us, the other half of the fan base, it's, oh, she's back. Well, how is she back? Because she died. And they're not even hiding the fact that, when we were talking with Martin and we had him on the show last week, we were talking about this, and there was, he had this theory that, well, she was in stasis maybe she wasn't dead. But, there's an article that came out today on StarWars.com that interviews the voice of Asajj Ventress. Her name's Nika Futterman. And they go on to explain that in the book, it says right here, when it comes to Ventress's return, however, there's a need to address the bantha in the room. For all intents and purposes, Ventress met her demise in Star Wars Dark Disciple. Still, series creator Dave Filoni, executive producer Brad Rao, and executive producer head writer Jennifer Corbett had a plan. So it seems as though that even when the series, because you got to think of this first as these were Clone Wars episodes. Mm-hmm. She was going to die in those Clone Wars episodes.
Yep.
So Filoni, I'm sure, in my opinion, just like George, probably, like this kind of says, already had a plan in those Clone Wars episodes that when she was going to pass, that he was possibly going to bring her back at some point. So there is probably an explanation there. I just am dying to know what it is.
Yes.
And it seems like we're not going to get that for a little while. And I think this was meant to, in my opinion, this was meant to bring her back in order to further her stories somewhere else, which I believe is going to be probably the next animated series. And I agree with you. It could be Tales of the Jedi. It could be
Tales of the Jedi just to catch people up for those who haven't read the novel, even though the sale of the novel spiked after the trailer.
Yeah. I think, you're right. I think what I would do, this is what I would do if I were running Star Wars Animation. I would use this as kind of a backdoor pilot and get her own series and think about it. Then you can actually have flashbacks or retell the Star Wars unused episodes and finish those out. And you can almost show, obviously, what happened to her in parts. You don't have to do the whole thing. Of course, because I think what the story is going to be, at least the story I would do, is the story of her and Quinlan.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's what I would do. And I think that just makes sense for them to do something like that. So that's her. Now going back to the episode itself, I was underwhelmed with the episode, even though I love seeing her. And again, like kind of like you said, she is different. So it's not, we had some concerns that, is this going to be like, are they going to erase kind of even what she went through? But you can clearly tell that she is a changed person. And so that made me feel better about it. But I was overwhelmed, to be honest, in the overall episode, because I think we're indifferent about this. I don't think it really did anything for the story. I didn't feel like there was any kind of advancements for Omega, for the guys. The guys were obviously very defensive and protective, like they normally are. And even at the end of that, when they were just glad to see her leave. I think it does somewhat hint at Martin's theory that Pabu may be discovered, because she was able to find it so easily. You know what I mean? So it's like, his whole thing is that something bad's going to happen here. That could be true. But anyway, I just felt like it was strictly about her, which is fine, I guess. But this was strictly about her coming back and not necessarily about the Bad Batch and moving that story forward.
See, this is where I disagree. I think it actually does help the story move forward, but the problem is that it was done through a series of kind of throwaway or subtle lines. The first thing is, I agree with you. This kind of leads to the fact that Pabu isn't necessarily as hidden as they think it is, and they're probably bringing danger to Pabu. The second thing was towards the end when they were like, what does this mean? Second, we are confirmed that M count does mean midichlorian count. We are confirmed with that. So that means that Omega is force sensitive. We also get a firm definition that everybody has a midichlorian count. It just depends.
It doesn't mean you're force sensitive, though.
Bingo. It doesn't mean you're force sensitive. But if you have a higher level, you do have a higher tendency to be force sensitive.
If trained, correct.
If trained. So that, and I think that in addition to Ventress at the end, essentially telling the Bad Batch, you're holding her back. If you want what's best for her and you want her to hone in on that, you will let her go. And let her be with someone who can train her. Because you all will not be able to do that for her. So if you want what's best for her, in my opinion, you let her go. And I think that
but I don't know if we
set it up.
Well, so we weren't told. I mean, we weren't specifically told that she has a high M count. Like she kind of said,
we know she has a high M count based on the experiment that was done on her with her blood.
Well, we don't. That's that is kind of jumping to conclusion a little bit
Really?
because there could be. I'm not saying that it's any difficult than just simply having M counts, but there could be something else unique about her blood that works with whatever combination they're doing, not necessarily M counts. Because Ventress even said it. She said there were millions of clones that were made, and like none of them had high M counts. Like none of them had any kind of difference in their blood. What makes her? I still think there's something missing about why it's her, why only her.
I would agree with that, but I think the high M count, I definitely believe that she does have a high M count.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that. But I agree with you. I think there's a whole nother aspect to it that makes her unique. But at this moment, it's because she has an IM count. Maybe it's because she has Palpatine's DNA. I have no idea. But I
don't know, because having a high M count, I just think the tests that they were doing, they were
looking for people with high M counts.
Well, they were simply mixing the clone's blood with some other blood. And so I don't know if having a high M count made it compatible. I think there was something else that could have made her blood compatible. So that's because again, I'm just curious why they kept testing the same people, like they kept pulling the same people. Like if this person doesn't have a high M count, they're never going to have a high M count. So why would they keep testing the same people?
My point of the high M count is that I think it's going to get to the point where the Bad Batch have to let Omega go so she can train with the Jedi. That's where I think this is going. And that's why I think this episode actually progresses the story.
Okay. I don't think it's going that way.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it's going that way.
Do I want it to go that way? I'm not 100% sure. But if this episode is not meant to be a backdoor pilot or a bridge episode or a filler episode, if it's not, then that's the only thing that makes sense to me, is that that's where the story is going.
Well, I think
I could be wrong.
Obviously the story. Obviously, I don't think we're going to see Ventress again. So I think that's why I feel like it's one of those just here's where we are with this character. Now we're going to move on with her, and we're going to still figure out, because right now I still believe that the goal right now, or where the show is going, is still to free the clones on Tantus.
Right.
It's not necessarily.
Yes.
It's not necessarily. Obviously something's going to happen to all of them. Like what happens to all these guys at the end of this series? 6 more episodes, right? So
yeah,
it's like, I feel like it's not going to come to a clean conclusion. There's going to be something that has to, something that's going to be left open, like unless they all somehow die for some reason, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it is curious because, in 3 seasons, even though Filoni and, even though he's not necessarily, he's kind of on the outside of the show looking, he's more of an executive than he's actually the supervising director. Everything Filoni does have an aspect of the Force involved, right?
Right.
From Clone Wars to Rebels to Ahsoka, obviously, and The Mandalorian, there's still hints of the Force and all this stuff, right? Grogu. And so there's always that aspect. And part of me kind of feels like, okay, this is the 3rd season and we really haven't had the Force in this thing. So we got to put something in here. And who can this person be? And it's got to be, we can bring back Asajj this way. I don't know. I feel like the stars align to do it this way, to bring her back. And I don't feel like it. I think part of me says that that's a possibility, that they're setting up for her to go with Omega, but I just don't think that would be, if I were, again, the only thing I say that is because if I were going to do Asajj beyond this, it would be about Quinlan and her. It wouldn't
I
be about her
agree.
and Omega. You know?
I don't think Ventress would take on a Padawan anyway. That's just,
Yeah. Like, how would she even really do that? Yeah.
she wouldn't. She wouldn't. If it
So,
was anyone, it would be Quinlan. But it could be that she's with another Jedi. I
yeah.
don't
Well,
like.
and it'd be very, on the flip side, it'd be very hard. I feel like right now that Omega would even consider leaving the team.
Yes, it would be a thing where Hunter has to let her go.
Mm-hmm. But
And
yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
yeah,
So I just, coming back to the overall like aspect of the show, I think what really helped this episode for me too is that you kind of feel like the guys are kind of one team again with Crosshair.
that is true.
They were on the same page about her, and they were on the same page about protecting Omega. Even I think there was a line that went like we would never let, Crosshair was like, we would never give her up or never do that or something like that. Right. And so that was really good to see, I think. But overall, I think having her back, again, I'm okay with it. We just kept saying we needed an explanation, and I kept waiting for the explanation, and I just never got it. Now,
I agree.
here's the thing. Again, in this article that came out, it does say in here that, let's see, let me just find out where it says. So it says, though Ventress walks away from the Bad Batch and Omega in the end, there's a feeling that the future is wide open. Or, as Futterman says, that Asajj could do anything and become anything. I think we're going to find out a lot of things about a lot of things, Futterman says. And I think we're going to have all kinds of fun adventures. That right there tells me there's a series.
There's a series. There is something. There's something. And just tell me why. Like, that's my thing. I would feel way better about this if I just knew how she came back.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Like, that's where I'm at. And what I do like though is that with her, as I said before, we see that she's different. So I'm happy about that. I don't. At the end of the day, I think it's just undetermined at this point, but we can just drop that and move on and watch the next episode.
Yeah, it's it's unfortunate that it's kind of a walk in, walk out kind of thing, but even I can't remember, because I feel like at the end of the Clone Wars, she still had her red sabers, right? And then I think in Dark Disciple, I don't know. Did they ever say it was a yellow saber in Dark? I can't remember.
Fairly certain.
But I think so. Somehow she got the yellow saber. Maybe got her own saber crystals or whatever. I don't know. But I feel like that could have thrown some people off too. So, but I know in the book cover, I believe she has a yellow saber. So,
actually, she might have gotten it in Clone Wars. Because Ventress lost her twin sabers in a battle with Barriss in the Coruscant underlevels, forcing her to acquire a new yellow-bladed lightsaber on the black market.
Yeah, but I don't think they showed that part. She did fight. She did have the red sabers in those episodes. I don't believe she had the yellow one. Like I think she lost those sabers, and then, yeah, I think she acquired them in maybe Dark Disciple.
Okay.
Which is the book. But yeah. But overall, the show's good. And, we've got 6 episodes left. Next week is a double two-parter.
Okay.
Yep. Episodes 10 and 11 drop next week.
The two-parter.
Two-parter. That could be Martin's episode of Pabu getting attacked, or they find a way to go somewhere, and it's probably going to end up being kind of what we did last time. They're going to go somewhere, and it's going to be a big mission that takes 2 episodes to go through. So,
yep.
We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so what else? Anything else on that?
I don't think so.
The next commentary that we are going to be doing, of course, is episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. We are going to try to be doing this early in the morning so that we can, see if we can get some of our patrons that are kind of overseas to join us. So we're looking at this Saturday, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you're listening to this on Friday, the release, it will be tomorrow. And that is March 30th, correct?
Yep, that is.
Yes. So March 30th, Hannah and I are going to jump on here early in the morning. We're going to do 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. 8 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. So, unfortunately, if you're on, I'm not even sure exactly where all of our patrons are. I don't think anybody's on the West Coast, so that would be early for you. But if you're in Europe, which I know we have Thrawn over there, hopefully that's afternoon. Maybe you can join us. We'll see. But we're going to try to do that. Hannah's going to let me know if her schedule changes for some reason, so stay tuned. I will actually post on Patreon when we're going to do it as we get closer to it. So yeah, we'll do that. Talk about episode 3. Should be fun. And yeah, we'll do that then. And then, of course, let's see. Some comments from our last episode. Of course, Thrawn again just says, love the deep discussion and speculation between you 3 on this Acolyte trailer. I'm not sure if any actual Sith will appear in this series, and think the red saber in the trailer is meant to throw the audience off. It could be other dark side users from different cults, maybe. I would love to see Plagueis, but don't think they will reveal him so early and maybe show a tease at the end of the season. Ooh. It's hard to tell with Plagueis because it depends how much they will change from the novel. As far as I can remember, the novel started with him killing his master, so not sure in Acolyte trailer if Plagueis would still be an apprentice. So many options they can go with this time period, though. So it will be exciting in which either direction they go with it. Again, love the trailer, and all the characters looked awesome and can't wait to learn more about them. Do you know if this is meant to be a limited series, or is it possible for a season 2 for this? Thanks again. May the Force be with you. There's definitely intentions to do more seasons.
That was my thought too.
Yeah. In fact, I feel like I've read or heard that season 2 is already in development.
Oh, wow.
Because they feel good about this series. Kind of like with Ahsoka, when Ahsoka was and Andor, really. They kind of fast-tracked Andor as well. So, yes, if this goes well, definitely we'll get, I think there's definitely a bigger story here.
Agreed.
That they're going to do. Okay, let's see. I did want to say I mentioned Mark Davis, who's on our Facebook group, mentioned, because I posted the trailer there, he says, his first comment about the trailer, he said, to be honest, the trailer doesn't do much for me. It's okay, but I was hoping I am hoping this is as good as Andor's series was. We'll be watching for sure, but expectations after seeing this isn't high. Please don't screw this up, Disney. But then a day later, after he listened to us, he says, okay, wasn't thrilled originally with the trailer, listened to your pod, appreciated your insights and views, watched it again, and now I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yay!
So there you go, Mark. We're not always going to, say stuff is great and all that stuff, but that was pretty good for us to say. Let's see. Darth S&M on here also said, is Rogue One in your list for commentary? Of course it is.
Unfortunately.
I replied to him on there. Yes, we are doing every Star Wars film in chronological order. So after episode 3 will be Solo, and then we'll do Rogue One. So a couple more months, and we'll do that.
Yay.
Yeah. Let's see. And then I don't know if I read this on air, but he also mentioned on a post, Attack of the Clones commentary episode was great. Thanks, Hannah Dave, for staying up late. Yeah, Dark S&M was with us the whole time. So
He was.
yeah, that was great. Okay, everybody, thanks for commenting and reaching out. Like I said, we'll be doing our commentary this weekend for episode 3. Yeah, we'll get the coffee going and the Diet Cokes going, and it's going to be fun, to do that. Looking forward to that. I got to build my notes for that because we get a lot of discussions there as we come to the end of that trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. Thanks, Hannah, as always.
Thank you, Dave, as always.
Take care, everybody. Go finish up watching some Bad Batch, and we'll be here next week for the 2-parter. And have a great weekend and a great week, everybody. And that's kind of spring break for some people next week. So hopefully you guys enjoy yourselves and enjoy the time. If you're on vacation, take care. We'll see you next week. May the Force be with you.